Alrighty, Chris, and all you viewers, I apologize, folks, on all the videos I've done. I've been focusing on Chris, a friend of mine. I say it in the beginning always Chris, but this is to all you viewers. Obviously, I hope you get something out of it. My intention is just to encourage people to find their own voice and be creative. Cover songs are great, but you didn't create them. If you're playing someone else's song, that's great, and you can make money doing that. But why I teach strictly like the pentatonic, diatonic, and all that is that anyone that'll take those and spend time with them, you'll start finding things of your own. Basically, that's my purpose in doing this. I picked up the guitar in 2012. I was suicidal. I didn't have anything else going for me. I had spinal surgery. I couldn't even work. And I was depressed, you know, and I had already knew a little bit on the guitar, but then I really dug in and started doing what I'm sharing in these videos. And because, you know, I wanted to learn, so I wouldn't be looking for things in the dark. But again, for crying out loud, these just dropped the tuner and it broke. Alright, so today I want to do the E minor pentatonic. The reason being, I went over the B minor / D major a bunch. So this is regards to the fact that there's a shape to each one. And as I mentioned many times in the ones I did on the B minor, but I started at the lowest point on the fretboard. So we were actually starting with the 3rd, 4th, and 5th box of the B minor pentatonic. We didn't get to the first number 1 box till we got up here, and then number 2, and then the one up here is the same as the first one we started with. But I figured I'd do E minor for the reason of showing, you know, the fact about the shapes from box 1 to 2 to 3. In E minor, we are actually starting at the open position with box number 1. Okay? That means when you talk about the pentatonic and you talk about box number 1 or position number 1, you're talking about the position that starts with the root note of the key you're talking about. For example, if I was talking, we're going to start with number 1 box or scale position of A minor pentatonic, we'd start with the A note on the low E. This is all starting on the low E string, and all my lessons are based on 440 tuning. I do other stuff. I've done open G tunings and learned a few Stones tunes, and I've done Dadgad and all that, and wrote some of my own stuff with Dadgad. But this is basic stuff for those of you who don't yet know this. So so we're going to do E minor pentatonic today, and the big purpose about it, like I said, is the fact this is shape number 1. It's because we're starting with the E note. There's a shape to them. There's a shape to number 1 box, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. And those shapes are the same no matter what key you do this stuff in. Number 1 box is a certain shape, number 2 is a certain shape, number 3, number 4, number 5. Then they repeat themselves. So that shape here, the nut, the open string, is the same as at the 12th fret. So up here, pentatonic because we're starting with the E note. Well, it's E minor pentatonic. E minor is the relative minor of G major. That means relative means all the notes are the same. If I started with the G note, you'd hear pure G major. Which we're going to get now starting at box number 2. So we start with the middle finger at the 3rd fret on the low E, and now you've got, it's a second scale position of E minor pentatonic, but when you start with the G note and play the G, it becomes G major. Alright, so, but what we want to do, and you'll hear it in the end of this video, I just want you to learn the block. And use the fingers I'm using here. Too many guitar players favor fingers 1 and 3. I do too. When I solo, I use them mostly, and I don't follow these fingers necessarily. When I solo, if I'm creating a phrase, I don't think about the fingers I'm using. I want to play a certain phrase, and I use whatever fingers works. But for the purpose of developing all 4 fingers, and you know, there are lessons where you purposely develop all 4 fingers when you do chromatic. What this lesson is about is teaching you scales on the fretboard that you can actually use and create with. Alright, so we got... This is the block. Now, if I play that in the format of wanting to resolve to an E, say an E groove, alright, so that's the first 2 positions. Number 1 position for your minor pentatonic would be whatever key you're talking about, in this case E, so we're starting with the E note, that's number 1 block. And number 2. You want to use these fingers, and the reason why is when I do some jumping all over the fretboard, you can't do what I do any other way. You can't limit and favor a couple fingers and do what I'm going to do maybe later on in the video if I got time. And that's just simply running, you know, all over the place with that. Whatever. Well, we got to turn that side up. Oh, I got the gain way down, and I had the gain way down because I was noodling with some stuff yesterday, and I wanted kind of a not so dirty. Well, I just made it real dirty. Alright, so number 3 box in E minor, you'd start at the A note on the low E, and you'd go middle finger, baby finger 3 times. First finger, baby, then you step that over from the G string to the B string. Oh, sorry. Now, I've had students in the past that used to come to the house and sometimes, well, can't I do this instead? Yeah, you can do anything you want. But if you never do this, then guess what? You can never do this with these fingers. Don't look for, you know, when I solo, like I said, I might take out that 3rd finger and use the first, like second. So it's this, what I'm teaching right now has nothing to do with soloing. It has to do with learning to be able to do this with these fingers. Alright, so watch your fingering. Yeah, this is to help you developing all four fingers in a musical format such as pentatonic, because later on I'm going to add other notes in there with the make it the diatonic, which means your full do re mi in E minor, which is also, this is the key of G major actually, when we add in all the rest of the notes. So now after that position, so we got the next position up. This would be box, so we did 1, 2, 3, this is box number 4, or scale position number 4 of the E minor pentatonic. We start at the B note on the bottom low E string, and then it's, watch the fingers. Alright, so and then, so that's box number 4. Now this is the shape of box number 5, scale position number 5. These shapes are always that way. Number 2 block in whatever key is that shape I did here starting at the G. If you're in another key, you just move that same shape. So this E minor one demonstrates starting at box number 1, right at the, because I like to teach the lowest point of the fretboard to the highest, no matter what key, no matter what scales I'm teaching. I don't want you to learn it just, oh, it's over here and then over here. No, it's about in 12 places, you know, that kind of thing. And you'll find a lot more phrasing and stuff, you know, which is phrasing means your own riffs, your own licks. Alright, so box number 5 for the E minor pentatonic / G major. Every minor pentatonic came from a major key. Okay, so it's the major keys is always 3 frets up from the minor. Always. If I'm in A minor, the key is C major. 3 frets up. Chromatically. Yeah. Alright, so the last position, then it's repeats starting at the 12th fret. Middle finger, baby finger at the 10th fret on the D note on the low E string. Wait a minute, sorry. Now I call this one the sandwich block number 5, because you got 2 at the low E, you got 2 of them with middle finger, baby finger. Then you got the middle 2 strings are first finger, baby finger. And then the high 2 are the same as the bottom 2. Middle finger, baby finger. Now that one's the same as the first one we did, and then this next one up is the same as this one. And the next one up here is the same as this one. And so on, however many frets you have. So, and the other thing, take these, when you get them down, don't think you got it down just because you played, you know, one of them. Most people got the number 1 one down pat, but the other ones maybe not so much. Don't think you got it down just because you like played it once and, oh, I played it and didn't make a mistake. You want to get to where you can play it without looking, play it in multiple counts and patterns. Kind of thing with every one of them. Like I'm not looking, I'm looking at the camera. of thing, you know, and then there's 3 counts, you know. With every block, you know, you get them down when you can play them and then also walk up them. That kind of thing. You don't have them down till you can play them without looking with ease and play them in those multiple counts. 6 count, 5 count, 3 count, 4 count patterns, you know. And that's how you find riffs. And then I used to do this, and I can do this in any key. I can go to F and play from the key of F and do all the same stuff. G, every key. But I also would take and do patterns like on just 2 strings, like in the E minor here, for example. That same thing. That kind of thing. I'm not up on those lately. I haven't been playing much at all because I've got to have surgery. Stomach's up my diaphragm. I haven't been feeling well. I did that, got these down around 2012, 2013. And then, you know, yeah, so that kind of thing. And like riffs I would create, like say 5 notes and then the root note, like a... You hear that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So 5 notes in the root note. Doing a piece of that, all them, you know, like these blocks up just on the top 2 or 3 strings. I do a 6 count one, staying with the, this is all staying in the same key. This is playing the same notes of the blocks I just laid out for you. Whoops. 6 count. That kind of thing, you know, you start hearing riff. And then also hammer and pull off stuff. Now I'm not up on my game, but the point is you can hear it. You know, and when I solo, I do a lot of starting with 3 notes, and I do a lot of pull-off stuff because I got a lazy right hand. You want to get to where, when you get the blocks down, where you travel between them. Start goofing around with challenging yourself to move, you know, like not just stay in one block. Now I'm hacking because, you know, I ain't warmed up. I don't want to go over 20 minutes, so there you go. It's just a, you know, learning your pentatonic on the entire fretboard, and I did a lot of videos on the B minor, but you don't get to number 1 block till here. So I figured, well, I'll do E minor. It starts at number 1. You got that shape. That's the most common shape or position. And then number 2's got the certain shape, and that's your major flavor when you're starting with the G note. Now I'm seeing that there. I put the G major flavor on it, but that's all also E minor pentatonic.